Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for the Crosswalk Devotional Podcast. Over the years, our editorial team at crosswalk.com has written these devotionals, observing truths we see at the intersection of faith and life. We're thrilled to offer them to you now in podcast form. To get all of these episodes straight to your phone each week, just subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get podcasts. To find more devotional content like this, just visit us at crosswalk.com.
When I Grow Up by Catherine Britton, read by Kelly Jane McGlynn. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, then we will live and also do this or that. James 4:15. You can be anything you want when you grow up, sweetie. My parents profoundly ignored that phrase when I was growing up. I never heard them say those words, although the self-esteem trend was certainly making its way through the schools and Saturday morning cartoons. That's not to say they told me the opposite or never encouraged my efforts. On the contrary, my mother carted me to ice skating practice, art lessons, piano lessons, debate club, and even soccer for one pathetic season. She pushed me to do my best at whatever activity or homework assignment came my way, because it was a matter of doing all things for the glory of God. And that's exactly why she and my father never told me I could be anything I wanted when I grew up. My parents knew better. Instead of the infinite potential catchphrase, they would tell me things like, if God wants you to be a concert pianist, then you will be. Or God gave you this talent for a reason, so we're going to cultivate it. That took the focus of what I wanted to be and onto how God had gifted me. For that reason, my mother pushed me into writing tutoring, even though I absolutely hated it at the time. I certainly had no intentions of being an editor when I grew up. Little did I know. Can we really be anything we want when we grow up? The famous verses and Proverbs suggest otherwise. In his heart, a man plans his course, says Proverbs 16:9. Sure, I can make up plans to be anything I want, but the Lord determines my steps, as the verse concludes. My parents understood this from their own crazy life stories, so they told me not about my endless potential, but about God's ability to take me to places unknown and undreamed of. I laugh inwardly when people ask where I want to be in 5 or 10 years, because heaven only knows where I will actually be. Besides, I'm still inexperienced in all of this career and marriage stuff, and still figuring out my goals. How comforting it is to know that it's my responsibility to cultivate the little talents I have and let God decide where to take them. Even at this point in my life, I can look back and see the long line of events, circumstances, character-building chances, oh boy, and opportunities that I couldn't have orchestrated myself. I see now that I couldn't have been anything I wanted. Instead, I have become and will become whatever God wants me to be. After all, He knows me more intimately than I know myself. He knows exactly how I can serve His kingdom best. Yes, that's what I want to be when I grow up. Intersecting faith and life. If the Lord wills, then we will live and also do this or that. Are we aware just how fully dependent we are on God? Does this give us comfort, or does it scare us that we control so little of our lives? Are you excited to see where God will take you, or afraid that His plan will be different from your own? It all comes down to a single question. Are we willing to surrender our plans for His glory? For further reading, check out Psalm 119:35 and Jeremiah 10:23.
Hey listeners, thanks for joining us for the Crosswalk.com devotional podcast. To get all of our episodes straight to your phone during the week, subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. To find more devotional content like this, head over to crosswalk.com.